Well, and I think that's the key in cybersecurity is operationalizing it, making it relevant. We see whether it's in a military setting or in a business setting. I mean, if you try to talk cybersecurity to people that aren't in the security community, eyes glaze over, and that's that. You've lost them. But you have to
100%.
make it relevant.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, no, that's definitely
It's
that's a key
it's kind
talent.
of funny. So the general officer that came in and said you need to listen to the Marine, right? He sat down at the table and he said, and for some reason when they find out I'm a former Marine, they like to call me by my rank, right? Instead of contractor Artie or contractor Crawford or
Hmm.
whatever, they're
Hmm.
like Master Guns. He says, I need you to explain to me, and I'm an old knuckle dragger, meaning an artillery man, right?
Okay.
I'm an old knuckle dragger, and I know pull string go boom. So tell me why cyber is relevant. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, sir, I'm going to give it to you in something that you will understand. He
Hmm.
says, well, why do I need to patch a server? Okay. I said, sir, let's look at it like when you put 5 rounds through a M19 or 8, what do you have to do? I have to pull it offline. I have to inspect it to make sure the barrel's true. I have to do, I have to lube this piece and lube that piece. And I said, exactly. I
Hmm.
said, and if you're in combat, you can do how many rounds before you have to pull it offline and let it cool? Gosh, 7 if I'm in combat, and if it's danger close, I can do 10, but no more than 10 rounds before I kill somebody right next to it.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. So when you patch the server, that's pulling it offline and PMing it, just like you do a truck when you change the oil, just like you do this, just like you do that. And he's like, why hasn't somebody told me that before? Because I get into the cyber meetings, and just as you said, Ben, people glaze over because they want to use all their big super cyber terms, right? I
Yep.
like that, super cyber
Yep.
terms,
There we go.
and
That's a good
and
one.
and you don't win. He says if
No.
you can explain that in those terms, everybody in this command will start to listen to you about cyber. And I want to say that that was probably a defining moment in my career because I was able to walk into a office, a conference room, or understand who was heading the meeting and knew about that much about them, whether I looked them up on LinkedIn, whether I knew who they were through a friend of a
Hmm.
friend. And I said, sir, this is, or ma'am, this is why this is relevant, and put it to them in terms that they understood. And now all of a sudden, and I think that's what you and I have absolutely done in the trucking industry. We've put it in terms, and you've taught me those terms. I may have taught you what to say from time to time, which probably not, but you've taught me how to put it in trucking terms so that it's relevant to
Hmm.
each of these organizations that we speak to.
Yeah, and I think we both have seen, and I think there's others in the industry now talking about it in these terms. But it's important to take and make it relevant. So things like we've seen safety programs in trucking that have matured over time, and we went from you know non-existent or safety as an afterthought to safety being a core pillar in a trucking company or in a transportation company. And then the same thing with preventative maintenance, and now
100%.
predictive maintenance. And when you look at cybersecurity in terms of managing those same kinds of risks, it's business risk, right? So that's really what effective cybersecurity is doing, managing
Exactly.
business risk.
Is
Yeah.
managing business risk, and how much risk what is my risk appetite and what is my risk tolerance? I can't fix everything. I got that. I cannot secure everything. But the things that I can't secure, I can make sure that I'm watching extra close.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's managing business risk at that point.